Everyone is welcome to join the group, even if this is your first time on the channel. We will have talked about the big banks and whether they accept cryptocurrency by the end. Bitcoin.com had a great story on X on the 29th that explained how the FDIC gave over 5,000 banks permission to invest in cryptocurrency. For the past 3 years, banks have been very careful about investing in digital assets. Now, flip the switch to let banks start investing in digital assets right away without getting permission first. This is not just a small change in policy, it's a big U-turn right now, since both the FDIC and the OCC agree that cryptocurrency should play a big role in the U.S. banking system. The FDIC and the OCC are working on a whole new way to deal with cryptocurrency for all the reasons they want, such as security, stable coins, and blockchain operations. Are we ready to start the next big thing in cryptocurrency? Finance, as you all know, I've been very open about how I think banks will soon be able to offer their customers services based on cryptocurrency. It will be the strong push for wide adoption because of formal. The project is going on all over the world, and as more people use it, bigger businesses start to give their services to clients as soon as they are on the chain and in the space. However, I have to say that rules are still an important problem. Even though you wrote this post, you know that all the problems have been fixed. However, there is still a big problem with the rules. Finally, I want to thank Smoke Dog for saying that all the rules that were stopping the coin industry from becoming more popular or from being taken away were being taken away one by one. That's how rules are made clear, and we have all the important ones here, like this is a complete. Because of the plan that was keeping banks from getting involved in cryptocurrency, these rules should be thrown out or changed in a big way. Yes, these are the ones that the FDIC, the OC, and the FB gave out. The FDIC, the OCC, and the FB all made it hard for big banks to use crypto, and all of these are big steps toward clearer rules. But if we look at what's happening here one small step at a time, we're getting closer to having rules that are completely clear and will help the industry grow. The first thing that needs to be done to make the USA a leader in the financial technology and digital assets environment is to get rid of or greatly change this advice. What I mean is that a lot of people, not just regular people, will use this tech. It will be possible for a huge number of people to buy, sell, trade, and lock up assets on a chain that goes around the clock 7 days a week. The first step is to set rules. I've said over and over that rules are important in everything we've been talking about, how big these projects might get or any price changes. To begin, you must adhere to the rules. There is also a great post from the Digital Asset Summit 2025 that talks about how legal issues have always been the biggest problem with Bitcoin. There is still trouble with these problems, but there is hope and a way to move forward. Being honest, I feel a little less sure of myself when I speak in front of. I've seen this happen in public and in the Middle East, some parts of Asia, and even Europe. But there are places where I feel more driven to gamble than others. The Navy calls the ceiling in the cell Kavu ceiling, and it seems like the view goes on forever. This means that you can move people off of zero, and it's much easier to get someone into. When I compare chasse methods today to those 3 or 4 years ago, I tell myself, hey, listen, the legal side of things has always been a big problem, and we can already see this change coming even more. The last 3 months have been amazing when it comes to rules and regulations, meetings, discussions, and even the SEC crypto task force going forward. A lot of people think that the case between Ripple and the SEC is over, but we are still looking into one thing: sales to banks. We also talk about Ripple and the case between it and the SEC. Anderson is a big reason why we did this. I'm looking forward to the end of the Ripple v. SEC case so that we now know that Ripple and Bank of America have worked together for a long time. This shows that Ripple has been building ties with many big banks around the world. In April 2020, they do name all of them, but there was a deal with Bank of America. Jolie Harris, who is in charge of this, was talked about by the head of global banking at Bank of America in an episode of the bank's Tax Insights show. She said that in addition to SWIFT, the bank wants to give its customers the freedom to do business whenever and wherever they want by releasing new tools. She also named Ripple as one of the bank's most important partners. There have been reports of a close relationship between the two for a while now. For instance, CEO Brad Garlinghouse is said to have said at the Ripple Summit 2022 meeting that Bank of America would have an edge over its competitors if it used Ripple's on-demand liquidity offering after the lawsuits with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commissioner. We've heard that Bank of America before. The United States is ready for rule changes, but the most important thing we're still waiting for is the SEC to lift the ban, which would let Ripple sell to big buyers again. There's no new information or due date for this, but we're putting all of our attention on it because it's the last big thing that needs to be done to end this case. As we already said, this isn't the first time we've heard Bank of America talk about the idea of giving cryptocurrency services or learning more about the space. This was said by the CEO of Bank of America in January in a piece called Big Shot to Riz XRP. Reading it made me think that the banking system will join if the government agrees, which it did not. This was one of the problems before. We already have a lot of blockchain rights and know how to get into the market. For a while now, these big banks have been getting ready. Some problems have been fixed, and now we're looking at what will happen next. In the U.S., for instance, Bank of America plans to release the USDP GC coin if, once a bill is passed by the government, there will definitely be a steady coin that is fully backed by the dollar. It seems pretty clear that there will be a safe currency backed only by US dollars, just like having a bank account. If they make it legal, we'll open that business. It works like a money market fund and lets you write checks, just like a bank account. It will be legal for us to move the BAS Bank of America coin and the bank in a US dollar account back and forth. This is something we haven't been able to do before. Let's treat it like any other foreign cash for now. It will be interesting to see what it can be used for. Bank of America could also use steady coins, which are the next big thing. Why do I say that around the XRP system when it's already happening on public blockchains like that? The facts, which show that banks like Socio General are already putting out steady coin, are even stranger. We were told about this in November when it was said that it would come out this year. Banks will start to use XRP and other crypto assets and networks like the XRP system and XRP because of Anderson. I think the biggest myth is that banks are scared that Bitcoin and other digital assets will take over their business. Chris, global payments are a big part of this fear. In the video below, Larson says that banks will fail if they don't.